Continuing to recap the week that was for the Big Ten, 12 wins overall. That's the best among all the Power 5 leagues. 4 different squads in the league scored 50 points or more. 5 different teams had more than 500 yards of offense, and 9 games were straight-out blowouts, with the Big Ten winning by 20 points or more. So looking at everything in all 14 games, here's what this segment's going to be. It's going to be, what do we know, what do we think we know, and what do we definitely not know? We'll take them one at a time. Out of everything you can pick from, what do we know?
Well, we know that at Michigan State, L.J. Scott is the guy that they're going to go with. You've got London and Holmes in that backfield as well, and many people thought that it might be a 3-headed monster, rotating quite a bit. But L.J. Scott got the hot hand, and they kept him in there. You can see he's a little bit different than those guys, a little bit of a taller running back, got a great stride on him, but excellent feet for a guy of his size. So I expect all year long for L.J. Scott to get a lot of carries in that offense.
Right, because their numbers last year, the 3 of them, were fairly comparable.
Right.
But in this game, no carries for Holmes, only 5 carries for London, and 20 for L.J. Scott.
Yeah, running backs like to get a rhythm. You like to be the guy. You like to get a feel. You like your linemen to understand kind of which guy's behind you, because there's this relationship that you build. You kind of understand each other. And things are so much easier to react to in games when you can anticipate them. And so when these running backs and these linemen, they know who's in there, they know kind of what blocking looks they see and how that particular player might react to it, there's just a rapport that develops, and I think that it makes the running game run that much more efficiently.
And if LJ can continue to take steps forward, that's only bonus for Tyler O'Connor, because that means less pressure on him.
Absolutely, absolutely. You never mind that, especially losing Conklin and Allen, your 2 best linemen. I mean, you're talking about top-level drafted linemen. You give those guys a little bit of time to develop and let your quarterback develop.
Okay, so from this week, what do we think we know?
We think Iowa's going to be okay defensively. 8 starters back on that team. They struggled a little bit last week, but here's the thing. Josie Jewell goes out 3rd play of the game. The quarterback of the defense is always going to be that linebacker. So you know that some of the calls, they talked about some of the issues that they had with miscommunication, but Greg Maben struggled at cornerback, and he's opposite King. So you know that he's going to get targeted out there. Nobody's throwing the other way. You're not throwing against the guy that had 8 interceptions. Yeah, you're not throwing against the guy that had 8 interceptions a year ago. So Maben didn't have a great game. So this is an Iowa offense that struggled against Miami, but an experienced Miami offense. They returned 10 starters from a year ago. So we're pretty sure that Iowa's still going to be solid defensively.
You know, time of possession isn't everything, right? Because if you're an offense like a Baylor or an Oregon, you don't need time of possession. You can still be amazing. But that being said, Miami had 36 minutes of possession against Iowa.
Yeah, and once again, you talk about losing control, guys being out of place. You're giving up plays that you're normally not giving up. Remember, you have a linebacker like Jewell. How many times do you see linebackers step up into the front? They make sure that guys are in the right gap, communication with the secondary, when guys release out of the back. So many things that a linebacker is in charge of. And forget about all the mechanics. He's an emotional leader for that defense as well. So it was very different for those guys not having him out there.
By the way, side note on this, I mean, he was ejected because of targeting. Weren't there like a flood of targeting calls this week?
There were, and there was one that was missed against Notre Dame last night, too. And we've been hearing about it all day.
All right, what do we definitely not know?
We don't know if the new offense of Joe Moorhead at Penn State is going to be the answer with Trace McSorley as the quarterback. It was not a very impressive performance that they had in the opener against Kent State. 16 of 31, okay. You got a decent offensive line. Saquon Barkley had a decent day, but we're not sure if this offense is what they thought it might be. Because of the offensive line that they had and the issues that they had on the offensive line, they only had 9 scholarship offensive linemen when James Franklin got there. They're up above 17. They were smaller guys, though, so they thought moving the offense to this type of offense, getting guys on the move a little bit more with a mobile quarterback might produce numbers immediately. Certainly not what we saw from Sterling Gilbert and that offense down at Texas a night ago with an instant payoff for the change in the offense, and it's something we're just going to have to see throughout the rest of the schedule.
Yeah, it's interesting you said. I think the biggest concern, if you were a Penn State fan, was just that your QB kept getting sacked all the time. Now, only one sack in this game. Is that because that's a positive sign, or is that literally just because the offense is so different, there's not as many opportunities?
Offense is different, and you have a guy that can get on the move a little bit. They're going to find out real fast against Pitt.
Right, next week. Yeah, McSorley only 16 of 31, again about 50% passing. You'd like a little more than that. Barkley 105, that's kind of average
decent
for him, right? That's not
great,
bad.
Not to take anything away from Kent State, but if you're Penn State and you're rolling out this new offense, you expect to have results fairly quickly.
Yeah.